Hey guys, welcome back to ItsRJTV. I'm RJ, and we're going to be going over the best clubs in the game and how they'll benefit you throughout, all the way up till you are king of the hill. Without any further ado, we got a lot to cover, so let's dive right in. A couple things I just want to touch on, some basics. Right off the bat here, we'll go to drivers. You see the rocket is the first one, the extra mile is the second one, the big topper is the third one, and then it starts over. So the fourth one is the quarterback, the fifth one is the rock, the sixth one is Thor's hammer, and tour 7 is where you can get the apocalypse. Just so you know, that order does mean something. And also you'll notice they come in 3 different colors. The rocket, for example, has a blue border around it. The extra mile has a yellow border around it. And the big topper, Thor's hammer, apocalypse all have a pink or purple, not sure which one, border around it. And they denote blue is common, which means you'll get these cards in decent amounts and they'll show up often. Yellow is rare, so sometimes you'll get lucky and get the ones you want, other times you won't. And then you got your purple ones, which are your big topper. Those take quite a while to be able to upgrade. Anyway, let's dive right in. I'm going to cover every club here, and I did not mean to hit that button, so let's go back. And drivers. Now, I'm going to cover this one just a little different than I cover all the future ones. I just want to point out how insanely awesome the extra mile is right out of the box. Did you know that a level 1 extra mile goes 220 yards? That is more than the rocket and the quarterback will ever go. So you could have a level 1 extra mile is going to go further than a maxed out quarterback and rocket. The big topper, you got to wait till level 6 before you surpass 220. The rock, you got to wait till level 5 until you surpass 220. So when you get a driver, accuracy is nice, and that is where this club is hurting some. But when you get a driver, you want to whack it down as far as you possibly can. And this club does that for you. It's not the best club in the game, but for getting it in Tour 2, this is going to be the one you're going to hang your hat on for quite a bit of the game. It's an excellent club. I'm still using mine, even in my main account. This is just my mini account that I'm showing you guys here. So, yeah, it's a great club. Also, it's very easy for wind adjustments. I do have a wind ring video. Please check it out on my channel. Again, it's RJTV. This guy's head up here. And it's like my 3rd or 4th most popular video. I got great feedback on it. And it's for people that don't understand how to use the wind and the rings. So I break it down really easily for you. But anyway, the extra mile is only passed by Thor's hammer level 5 and the apocalypse level 4. Now it's very important. I'm talking about a level 8 or a max level extra mile when I say it's only passed by the Thor's hammer level 5 or the apocalypse level 4. But you'll notice both of those cards are purple. I have almost 1,500 games played, and I haven't even opened an apocalypse on this account yet. So you're going to be playing with the extra mile for quite a while. Real quick, I'm going to do the rundown, best to worst. So the best club maxed in the game, that's how all these lists are. The best club is the Apocalypse. Surprise! But the second best club in the game, not far behind, and some people actually prefer it over the Apocalypse, is Thor's hammer. You get distance and accuracy with both, plus decent curl. Ball guides, you know, depending on which one we're talking about. But number 3, the 3rd best driver in all the game, and it's not an epic, it's a rare, and it is the extra mile. It's a club that you're just going to use. You're going to go through 4 extra miles. You're going to break it because you're going to be using it so much. No, you really can't break clubs in here. I'm just, kind of. Anyway, I have the 4th and 5th, I guess, are interchangeable. I have the quarterback and the rock. Really, I feel like they're clones of each other. There's some minor differences in there. They're very accurate clubs. They're very good clubs, but you need the distance in the tours. You'll probably use them more so for particular tournaments when you get to know what the hole is ahead of time, and then you get to bring whatever club you want. Again, the Big Topper at number 6 is a very fun club to use in the tournaments when you know you're going to need all that top spin to jump over a bunch of rough. But in the actual tours itself, it's all but useless. And even the Rocket I have used on some par 3s because it's got decent accuracy and a lot of backspin. So there's not really a bad driver, but that is going to change as we move along. Next, we're going to cover the wood clubs. Same thing applies. They're all in order, and you can tell whether they're epic, rare, or common by the color. The Viper will be a great club that will last you a long time. If you're lucky enough to get the Hammerhead early with upgrades, it can replace the Viper. I kind of feel like it's like a big brother almost to the Viper, but it's an epic. It's hard to get cards for, so for 99% of you, it'll be the Viper. Because you're probably going to want it at a level 2 because you're going to get so many upgrades. As you can see, my Viper is level 9. My Hammerhead is level 2, so that kind of shows you how often you get epics versus how often you get the common cards. Any of these cards, whether you have the Viper or the Hammerhead, they're going to be replaced by the next 2 cards. The Guardian and the Sniper are basically kind of like the Extra Mile. You do get them a lot later, but these 2 cards, there's a huge debate in the Golf Clash community on which one is better, and really it depends on whatever tour you're going in. If you're in a tour that requires a lot of backspin, nothing beats the Guardian. If you're in a tour where backspin isn't necessarily so important, the Sniper still has a fair amount of backspin when it's maxed out or even at level 8 or 9. However, the ball guide and accuracy reigns supreme there. So I would say those clubs are tied depending on what you need them for, what's going on in the tours, what type of shootouts you're going to be facing. The Guardian seems to come alive at level 4, while the Sniper seems to start getting its legs around 5, but you can't go into tours 7 or higher without anything at 8 or maybe 7 at best. Anyway, I went ahead and put together a top list for the woods. Number 1, the Cataclysm. But again, almost 1,500 games played, and I don't even have it unlocked. But when it's maxed, the Cataclysm is by far the best wood. Number 2, there's a tie. Surprise, surprise. The Sniper and the Guardian, or the Guardian and the Sniper, however you want to list them. They're very different clubs, but they're very usable with this game. They're great. Number 4, I put the Hammerhead. It's got really nice distance. It's got nice accuracy. It's a good club, you know, and especially once you max it out, might even be better than a Sniper or a Guardian, but with that backspin, I had to slip it down to number 4. Another one that's a very good club, in my opinion, and one that you will be using for sure a lot in tournament play is the Big Dog. Followed by the Viper. Now, yes, the Viper is in second last place. However, if you look at how these cards are coming, you're going to be using the Viper in regular tour play. So we're talking max clubs, and the reason why the Viper is so low is because you outgrow the Viper. And then coming in last place, a club I've never had a use for is the Horizon. So that covers the woods. I'd like to talk more about these clubs, but I don't want a half-hour-long video just on what the best clubs are. Trying to make this short and sweet for you guys. So let's go straight to the long irons. The Backbone is a great club that you will use most likely throughout all the way up to Tour 6 at least. Its biggest competition will come with the Saturn, as it's a lot like the Guardian in terms of backspin, which does become very important. By the time the Goliath becomes very good, you'll most likely already have other clubs that are doing what you wanted the Goliath to do for you, but the Goliath does become very good. So aside from those three clubs that I just mentioned, other clubs seem to be more like niche clubs or just clubs that fall short. So in terms of long irons, the way I listed them are, the best one is the Saturn. Number 2 and 3 both have an asterisk next to them, and I'll explain the asterisk. It's the B52 and the Tsunami. One of these clubs the B52 has amazing accuracy, and the Tsunami has amazing topspin and backspin. However, if you can combine these two clubs together, you would have a beyond epic card. It would be just like unfair for anyone. But the asterisk there is also because they're both epics. Very hard to get upgrades, very hard to get them to the level where they finally will be the best two cards you could have. Number 4, I have the Backbone, and don't let number 4 seem like it's a bad place to be because of how early you can get this club. Below that, I do have the Goliath. It does have its uses. You can use it in tour play and, of course, tournament play. And the niche cards, or basically cards that I wish they would replace, would be the Grizzly and the Grim Reaper. So that brings us to the short irons. Unfortunately, the first good short iron comes at Tour 4. The Thorn, like the Guardian and the Saturn, is the king of backspin, which really helps on the higher tours. It's also very easy to adjust for wind. The Hornet is a great club that is very accurate. However, when they give you the Hornet is right around the time that backspin starts becoming very important. So you will have some fun with your Hornet, but you're going to notice that it's going to go right back in your bag fairly quickly. So beyond that, let's just go straight into our top 10 list. We got clumps here. And really, there's just a top 2. The Thorn is the #1 best club in the game, my opinion, but I think many people's opinions will agree with that. Number 2, I do have the Hornet. It's very accurate. It's fun to chip in those short iron shots and get them into the hole. It's not going to happen all that often, but you know, the accuracy is amazing. The clubs here, as I mentioned before with the long irons, these are kind of gimmicky clubs. They're not bad, but they're not as good as other clubs that are available. As a 3-way tie between the Kingfisher, the Claw, and the Falcon. Just to give you an example, the Claw has better accuracy than the Thorn, but it doesn't have as much backspin, and the ball guide isn't nearly as good. So when you add those two together, most people will decide to go with the Thorn, but some people will choose the Claw. And then the 2-way tie for 6, these are just useless clubs in my opinion, is the Apache and the Runner. So if you're trying to save money and not do every upgrade as you go on, those last couple clubs are clubs that you could definitely go without for the entire game. So moving on to the wedges. Almost done already. We're moving along nice and quick, just like I like. All right, so wedges are plentiful. The Dart, which you get at Tour 1, can take you very far. At the same time, if you're lucky enough to get the Firefly early, which unlocks in Tour 2, but it's an epic, so you know it's very, very rare to get it. It's also a great club, even at level 1. The Skewer is another great option. Sure, you get it a little later on, but it's common, so when you get up there, you'll get a decent amount of cards. But once you get to this point, you have the Endbringer and the Rapier, and those two clubs replace everything behind them, bar none. There's not even a competition. The only competition might be if it's a level 1 club and you might have something else like the Skewer close to maxed out. As you can see, I am using the Skewer over the Rapier right now, but on my main account it's the Rapier all day every day. A couple more upgrades, maybe even just one, and the Rapier will pass the Skewer. And again, the Endbringer is just bar none 100% the best club in possibly the game, definitely in the Wedge family. So Not surprisingly, I ranked the Endbringer #1, the Rapier close behind, but definitely you could see a difference. At #2, I have a two-way tie for third place. I believe the Firefly and the Skewer are both equally as good as one another. What could bring down the Firefly is not being able to get it because it's epic, as to where the Skewer, you get it at a later tour, but you'll get plenty of the cards for them. At #5, I have the Dart. Simply ranked this low because you can outgrow it and will outgrow it. So a maxed out Dart isn't that great, but a lower level Dart for the newer players, it's excellent. I would use it. It's solid. And then the garbage ones are the Boomerang and the Down-in-One. Now, a lot of people, no one's going to cry for the Boomerang. No one's going to say, oh, the Boomerang deserves more love than that. But some people love the Down-in-One. My problem with the Down-in-One is this. Do you see that 1.3 ball guide? Okay. Now, if you look up a little bit, you'll see it has 44 yards, which is a lot of power for a wedge, and it also has 100 accuracy. So a lot of people are going to be like, well, it's meant for dunking. Well, not every time you use your wedge are you going to be in range to dunk. So with the little bit of ball guide that they do give you, I mean, some people can do good with it, but I've dunked with every single one of these clubs that you see here, besides maybe the Endbringer. No, not the Endbringer, the Boomerang. Because I just never wanted that in my bag. So we're moving on to mistake clubs. 2 more to go, and then we're done. Rough irons. The Rough Cutter isn't a very good club, but it will do until you get your hands on either the off-roader or the Razor. Most will see the Razor first, as it's not an epic, and with 100 accuracy, you can get many saves from the rough to get into the hole. However, the Nirvana is king because of distance and accuracy, as well as no weaknesses. So, to go through the rough irons really quick, I have the Nirvana at #1, and it's easy to upgrade the Nirvana, and the Nirvana is already good at level 3, where I have it. I believe I use the Nirvana at level 1 or 2. The Amazon, but again, it's an epic. You'll see I only have mine at level 2. It's hard to get cards for these, but yes, the Amazon will eventually get to the point where it can kind of challenge the Nirvana, but I believe the Nirvana still comes out on top. The third best card is the Razor, in my opinion, strictly for that accuracy. However, the #4, Off-Roader, once again, an epic. That's kind of where I separated it. It's hard to get those upgrades, but it does have more power. So rough irons are kind of rough. Excuse the pun, but rough irons are kind of rough to judge. If you hit your drive and it goes straight into the rough and you have a long way to go to the hole, well, then you want distance. But if you end up in the rough right next to the green, you're going to want a club that you know for sure if you hit it perfect, you're going to get it in the hole. So that's another reason why I put the Razor above the Off-Roader. #5, I have the Rough Cutter, which is not that great, followed by even worse, the Junglist, and really a Hall of Shame type club would be the Machete. So finally we made it to Sand Wedges, the final one. And here we go. The Malibu is a great club that you'll unlock in Tour 3, so you get it rather early. With very good power and accuracy, plus a nice ball guide, I would say it's the best overall sand wedge, and upgrades come fairly quick. That is, of course, until you get your Spitfire to level 5. Excuse me. Then you're ready for anything. But you won't get that high for another 2 years or so. So, Malibu. Let's see what I rank the top 7 sand wedges are. #1, the Spitfire, eventually. #2, the Malibu. Very close to the Malibu is the Sand Lizard, but the ball guide hurts it there. The Sahara is a decent choice. The Houdini isn't bad. And then we start getting into the Castaway, which is and your Desert Storm, which is all but useless. But go ahead and use it if it's the first thing that you unlock. Anyway, this has been my top clubs video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. I love interacting with you guys. If you agree, if you disagree, where you disagree, what you would have ranked number one, what you would have ranked last, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's fun just to have conversations with you guys. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification right next to it. I do a lot of live streaming and we have a lot of fun together. I'd love to have you if you're new to the community or haven't been to a live stream yet. A lot of interaction between me and the people in the live stream. And that's about it. So we're going to wrap it up. This has been the best clubs in the game and why. I'm RJ, and I'm checking out. Have a great day.